Hi guys, this is gsrom.com and I'm here with a special unboxing of the special ZTE Nubia Flip 2 gift box package. It's available right here in Europe and the recommended price tag should be around $699. Now, this is the regular box you're going to get. We got a gift box with some extras and let's check them out. So, I already handled the Nubia Flip 2 back at Mobile World Congress. It's supposed to be a mid-range foldable phone of the Flip variety. Okay, first I'm going to start with the extras, the gift box. Now, the phone itself has quite a few nifty things like a foldable 6.9-inch screen. The circular panel of the predecessor has increased quite a bit. It was something like 1.48 inches, now it's 3 inches. It's no longer circular, it's a squarish panel which you can actually use to do things. And here in the special gift box we should have a charger here. No, this is actually the playing cards. These playing cards are actually used to showcase the cute animals you're going to put on the external screen of the device. You're going to have pets animated in a cute fashion on the external screen. Maybe they're collectible cards, maybe they trigger some feature, we don't know. They're just here probably just to promote that function. Okay, believe it or not, we're also getting headphones, the Nubia Live Flip. It's one of those open ear headphones, like, you know, Huawei has them, Xiaomi has them, quite pricey. 150 euros for Xiaomi when they were launched last fall, and the Huawei ones are a bit cheaper. And these are the ones here, they actually look pretty good. And they're supposed to minimize the stress on your ears because they're not inserted in your ear channel, which once again should relieve the stress. I'm actually loving this little box they're stored in. It's much more sci-fi than we're used to. Okay, and then here there's nothing here, just the support. Here we have a case, which is an extra because the main box also contains a case. This one is a bit fancier. It's supposed to be a sort of leather. It's a leather-like thingy with a cutout for the external screen and the camera. It's a 2-piece thing. It attaches like this and also flexes with a hinge. Okay, that's everything available inside the special gift box. Now let's see the actual box of the device. Now the phone you're seeing here is still a mid-ranger on account of the MediaTek Dimensity 7300X processor inside. There has been quite the selfie upgrade. I am talking about a 32 megapixel selfie camera instead of a 16 megapixel selfie camera of the predecessor. Okay, putting everything back in beautiful fashion, and now focusing on the star of the show, the Nubia Flip 2 5G. I should also mention that the device has a IP certification, a modest one, IPX2, but still it's there. And this is the star of the show. Here it is, we have it in black. It's also available in a lilac, purple version, so yeah, there's that. Let's fire it up and see what it can do. Now, since it's a mid-range phone, some compromises had to be made. For example, you can definitely see the crease in the middle of the 6.9-inch OLED screen. Good news is that we're promised 20 gigs of RAM here. We actually get 8 plus an extra 12 from the internal storage. Another piece of good news is that we have a very generous battery here, larger than the one on the Galaxy Z Flip 6. We'll talk about that later on. And finally, this is the external screen, which is much more usable compared to the predecessor. And we also have a pet. Cute dog. Okay, now aside from that, in the box we should have the following. Here we should have a charger, but our version doesn't come with one. The EU regulations don't permit it. Here we have a cable going from USB-C to USB-C, as you can see for yourself. Nowadays, more mid-range flip phones are actually all the rage. Motorola's doing them, Samsung's supposed to be doing them. Huawei is doing them in China, and ZTE definitely doing them for a generation or two. And finally, the last of the unboxing, the key to access the slots, informations about the case, warranty card, of course quick start guide, and finally the case, the main one. A bit cheaper than the one you got in the extra box, and this is how it's mounted. You put this upper part here, and you put this bottom part here. You should be all good to go. By the way, you can also use the screen like this. There's no limitation, like we saw on some phones from rival brands. Okay, now let's get this all unboxed back and focus on the phone. Okay, so as I said before, we are focusing on the handset itself, available in black or lavender. Now, this Nubia Flip 2 has a much larger screen than the predecessor. It has an aluminum frame, aerospace aluminum, and when opened up, it's just 7.2 millimeters in thickness. It's also 20 grams lighter than the predecessor and resists splashes, water splashes. The back side is made of glass, this one here, and the fold is still pretty visible, as you can see for yourself. I'm talking about the fold in the middle of the screen here. Now, aside from that aspect, we can also talk about other things about the smartphone. The fact that there are changes for the screen. The external one comes with a 3-inch panel. The predecessor had a mere 1.43-inch panel, so that's quite the upgrade. It's also placed in a separate way from the cameras. The cameras aren't cut into it like we saw on the Motorola Razr, for example. Getting to the big fellow, this is a 6.9-inch OLED with 120 Hz refresh rate. It's supposed to achieve 1200 nits of brightness. The external one, 900 nits, but still not that bad. Now, inside the phone, there are things happening. There's a pretty powerful CPU if you're strictly referring to a mid-range handset. So we should have that info here about phone. You can see the RAM capacity. We go from 8 gigs to 20 gigs, and that's happening courtesy of the AI and allocation of RAM from the storage. Storage is 256 and the processor is a MediaTek Dimensity 7300X. It's an octa-core chip, and we can also see here the screen resolution, just in case you were wondering. Now, I can already tell you that in Antutu 10 we crossed the 600K mark. That's something to remember here. Now, as far as the battery is concerned, I think I'm going to have to download the IDA app to show you more. So we talked about the RAM, the storage, the processor. Now we also have to talk about the battery. This one here is a 4325 mAh unit, and keep in mind that the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6 has a 4000 mAh unit. And there's another bonus here. This one charges at 33 watts and the rival charges at 25 watts. Another welcome extra. We also have stereo speakers. This is the one at the bottom. At the top we have the earpiece here, and it's all done with DTS-X support for the acoustics. Now finally, on the camera front, as I mentioned before, this has been an upgrade, and the upgrade I'm referring to is the punch hole here. While the predecessor had a 16 megapixel camera, it graduated the Nubia Flip 2 to a 32 megapixel camera. At the back side we find a dual camera and a ring LED flash, this one here. The camera setup is, I would say, quite okay. The main sensor is a 50 megapixel one with a generous f1.59 aperture accompanied by 2 megapixel bokeh sensor. We have dual pixel PDF, but we don't have optical image stabilization. And as usual for the phones of this kind, you can definitely use a camera here, turn the main camera into a selfie camera with ease, with a bunch of selfie filters and options and a lot of things like that, sticker, photo, portraits, and what have you. On the external screen, you can also use the camera, phone, weather, calendar, alarm, timer, voice recorder, messages, calculator, photos, YouTube. Yes, you can watch YouTube videos if you really want to on this, I would say, pretty weird format. It's more prone for vertical videos and TikToks rather than YouTube ones. Now, oddly enough, you can also interact with something called Assistant. It's actually Gemini. You do have Gemini available here on this handset. Okay, now let's talk about connectivity. So the phone comes with USB-C 2.0, USB-C 2.0 at the bottom via this port here. We also have 5G connectivity, and as well we have a Wi-Fi 6. I should probably also mention that it comes with Bluetooth 5.4 thanks to the 4nm chipset, GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, and BDS for global positioning, and yeah, that's about it. So NFC, Bluetooth 5.4, everything is available here, and there's a very tiny earpiece here at the top, but it definitely does the job. Okay, now before we get to the actual software, I'm definitely sure you want to see the camera interface, which reminds me of the Nubia phones I've tested previously, including the gaming ones. So we have portrait with an aperture setup and a lighting option, natural light, stage light, mono, and more. You can also press here to have the external screen on, so the person can see a preview of themselves. You also have the night mode. You also have the video capture, 4K 30, and for the front camera delivers only Full HD tops. Of course, a lot of beauty options. We even have a special stabilization option here with an anti-shake feature, even if we don't have OIS. This is the photo area with AI, smart AI on, which is supposed to deliver better shots. We have 2 focal lengths, we don't have a zoom camera. We have a pro mode here with exposure, focus, ISO and more to set up. And finally the camera family, which is sort of a trademark for ZTE, Nubia phones and all that. You can make people into cartoons, take panoramas and a lot of goodies. Now, we can finally address the software. Obviously, we're dealing here with Android. Nobody's wondering about that. It's definitely Android. It's mAh 14 on top of Android 14. The update situation is uncertain. Most likely 2 years of major Android updates, probably 2-3 years of software security updates. The OS looks like basically a stock OS, not many modifications. And there are a few pre-installed applications here, including a game, Asphalt Nitro 2. We have a cleanup application and of course some AI features. One of them is this one. You can have translation between English and a variety of languages and even split the screen like this so you can see what you're doing. The other person is seeing that. So, ¿Dónde está la cerveza? Where is the beer? And you can also have that happening on the external screen, so you don't even have to open the phone. This is the translation, and you can even have the split screen thingy I showed you before, like this. So that's pretty cool. Now, aside from that, we have a one-handed mode and we have a variety of other AI features, culminating with, you guessed it, Gemini. And it's the cool version of Gemini with screen share, and you can also get it expanded. You can go to it like this, have it expanded, and turn everything conversational thanks to Gemini Live.
Hi, I'm Gemini. We're about to go live.
You can also switch the language with a variety of languages supported. Share the camera and also share the screen, which are all pretty cool features to have on a mid-range phone. Now, aside from that, I talked about Gemini here, but you can also mess around with the options from Google as far as photos are concerned. So if I can find a photo app, there will be some fun to be had. So if you take a photo with people preferably, there should be some folks to erase here and there. Oh, we have people here. Okay, so you do edit. You have a bunch of suggestions here. You also have crop. You have your magic eraser here. When you press it, it can find people to delete. And it already found a bunch of people, as you can see for yourself here. Now, aside from that, it also has this function here with AI, which uploads the photo to the cloud and lets you circle people or do some things here like mess with the sky, project a golden hour, or at some point on another phone I was able to change the color of flowers. I'm actually curious to see if you have circle to search. So if you press here, it triggers Gemini, but I'm pretty sure that if you play our cards right and mess around with the settings or options, we should be able to trigger circle to search one way or another. Okay, now the functionality of the external screen. Let's see about it. So we go here, we have outer screen, and I use the one with the pets. You can personalize the lock screen with these pets and also with some very good looking wallpapers. This is the pet family. You have a cat, you have a dog, you have a tiger, you have a blowfish, and more. Of course, a variety of good looking other options. Always on display is available, including this one here, which is more pixelated, but also good looking ones, which you can see here. Answer and a hang up, always on display as I mentioned before. Lock screen settings. And these are some of the outer screen options. You can also do theme and personalization, color and shape, animation, font and effects, notification and status bar, and there's something called Sync Mind for the 5G smart communication and AI real-time translation, which you saw before. This basically helps you with improved connectivity. You also have the app duplicator here, which lets you create 2 accounts in the same app, and some extra features here like the one-handed mode, which is, well, a way to use the phone with a single hand, and Z-Pop, which is basically a pop-up window which you can customize at need. We also have mistouch prevention, gestures, motion, and so much more. Okay, that's pretty much it. Of course, for the security, we have a fingerprint scanner embedded in the side power button, just so you know. And at the end of the day, this feels like a pretty solid package. They have upgraded the main screen, which is what people were asking for. And of course, you can also add or remove some of the applications here. Well, you have to turn on phone authorization first. So settings, external screen, external screen apps for that. Some of these are in beta, by the way, the ones I added here. You can tell that, by the way, it says assistant instead of Gemini. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Of course, you can do the whole split screen thing like this. which also happens in the browser and several apps. You have the bottom part with the options, the top part with the screen. YouTube is also available, and well, that's that. And you even have a sort of tent mode like this, showing the clock when you're about to sleep. That's it from us. This is the Nubia Flip 2, a mid-range phone which has cute features, supposed to be oriented towards the female public is what I would say. And I would also have to say that the ring flash definitely shows that, as well as the cute cards with the animals. That's it from gsn.com. Goodbye.